What's up, guys? How you doing? How'd you like that intro? I thought it was a little apropos to the topic we're going to discuss today, and that's stop killing games and my general opinions about the gaming industry as I see it. Now, if you've been playing video games as long as I have, going on 30 years at this point, cue the console montage for my bona fides and gamer cred. Thank you. Please note that not all systems are represented here. I ran out of space and couldn't find enough pictures for everything that I needed without having to do some serious editing with PNG files. And I just don't want to do that. Leave me alone. You do it. You're gonna probably feel like Sam Porter Bridges in Death Stranding. You feel like you're drowning, climbing uphill with no way out, and you're absolutely exhausted with everything that's going on. Now, there's been a lot of drama around stop killing games. I'm going to talk about that a little bit because I don't think I can avoid it. But I kind of want to give you the gamer dad's perspective. And what I mean by that is a normie gamer. I'm not doing this for a living. I'm not a game dev. I'm just a normal dude who likes to play video games. I grew up owning my video games, and yes, I know they're all licensed, but I had cartridges, discs. I stuck them in my Super Nintendo, my Nintendo, Game Boy, PlayStation, you name it. I probably had it, and I can probably still play those games today. Matter of fact, my younger brother still has all those systems because when I left the house, he inherited all that stuff, and he still has it, and they all still work. I played Super Nintendo Mario All-Stars at his house. I played Armored Core 2 from PlayStation 2 days. Like, it all still works. And those games are 20, 25 years old. And guess what? They never got killed because Nintendo, Sony, and all those other guys, those publishers, can't take away my disc. Now, will those things degrade over time? Will they fail? Sure. You know, that's unfortunately what happens. I mean, you can do what you want with the ROMs if you know how to do that. And I'm not that guy. But you have options. And I think that the Stop Killing Games initiative that Ross Scott of Cursed Games started is a wonderful idea. I think that, unfortunately, mostly Pirate Software, I believe his name's Jason Thor something or other, worked for Blizzard, as some of you may know already, did a real disservice to the movement, and it's unfortunate that he went that direction because I think like he had a lot of positive influence in the space, and ever since the WoW thing, which I could give a shit less about, he seemed to have been going in the opposite direction and sort of showing his true colors, which is disappointing because I really enjoyed a lot of his content. I thought he pushed out a lot of positive messages, but he's let me down like all my internet heroes do. I'm kidding. And, you know, I just wanted to put my own 2 cents in. I think that if you have a lot of influence in a certain space and you get a lot of eyeballs, a lot of ears to listen to you, and people come to you as some sort of authority, whether that's founded or not, you know, you have some responsibility for the things that you say. And the fact that he was unwilling to have a conversation and was very flippant about the initiative and what Ross Scott was trying to do. He could have reached out and had a more meaningful conversation that I think would have been helpful to Ross Scott. He could have brought in more developers that he knows in the space, brought together more, professional gamers, YouTubers, if you will, on their thoughts and sort of come to some sort of, understanding or maybe improve upon the Stop Killing Games initiative, a year ago when it had started. It's recently got a lot of momentum over the last few weeks, which is awesome. But, we could have been well on our way and had those signatures a long time ago, had the conversation happened, and they could have developed something together, as influencers, developers, gamers, to put forth a stronger message. And that didn't happen. So it's going in, as is, without any positive influence from him, and I think that's a missed opportunity. It's quite an L, especially considering, all the things that he said in the past about having a conversation with someone you might disagree with and all that kind of stuff. But, if, egos get bruised and people don't like what you're saying, then you kind of shut down or, rise to the occasion. And unfortunately, a lot of people get in their little bubble and think they're, the greatest thing since sliced bread, and don't want to consider other people's opinions because they think they're right and everyone else is wrong. And I hear that. I myself have gone through a bit of change, trying to practice a little more humility in my life because I know that with the people around me, I can be quite an asshole myself. And I'm not going to say that my personality has changed a whole lot, but I do put a concerted effort into making sure that when someone tells me I'm being an asshole, that I recognize it and try to put my best foot forward. And, it's easier said than done. But when you're in a public space, you got to be ready for ridicule if you're going to say that over and over and over again through, hundreds of hours of streaming VODs and then sort of, fall on your face without, following through properly or recognizing what you're doing. I think that if you're unaware of the initiative, I think you should check it out. I'll put a link in the description. I'll even pop it up here one time and flash it up. I think we're at like 1.2 million signatures. They needed 1 million signatures for the EU Parliament to take a look at it. I'm not sure of the legal process for that, but a lot of the criticisms of this movement seem to be towards Ross Scott, and that because he's not a game developer and doesn't know how games are developed, so to speak, that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and that what he's asking for is overly simplistic. And I don't think there's an issue with that. I think that the simple conversation needs to happen first. I think most of the people that have signed this initiative, if you're in the EU, you can still do it, is that you need to start the conversation, because if not, the lobbyists, the bigwigs, the corpo game, AAA game space is going to keep going down the road that they've been going down for, I would say, the better part of a decade. I stopped gaming in about 2012 when my first kid was born, and took about a decade-long break. And so I was out of the space for a while. So over the last few years, I've been kind of like making up time and playing games. Now that my kids are older, they're getting into gaming, so it's something we can actually share together, and I don't have to entertain them all day long when they're much younger. I get a little time to myself, got a little more life balance now, where I can enjoy the fruits of my labor as far as playing games goes. And I think that's true for a lot of us. So it was kind of disappointing to come back into gaming. I think the last game I really officially played a lot was Battlefield 3, and after that, nothing. Cyberpunk 2077 was the game that was going to bring me back. Unfortunately, it had a rough start, and Elden Ring was what really got me back into gaming. And it's been sort of downhill ever since. I don't mean downhill like bad games. I mean downhill as in like I've been playing a lot more games than I used to. Anyway, I think that with everything going on in the space with 60, 70, 80, $100 microtransactions, and you got all these free to play games, you've got full price games, you got $80 games, $100 games, and they've got microtransactions, and they've got subscription services. I mean, I just don't know how we got here, honestly. Like, I kind of checked out around I would say a lot of people would think that it was sort of the golden age of gaming back in the day, before all this stuff started taking off. And I just hope that what comes of this is an honest conversation with lawmakers, and that, consumer protections, get to that point for gamers like they have it for other industries. I think we're probably the last, group of people that are gonna get that, consideration, because a lot of people in government don't know what video games are. I mean, the industry is not that old by comparison for a lot of other things, but, obviously there is a lot of room to improve. And companies have gotten away with a lot of things, which we as customers have allowed. I mean, people buy microtransactions, people pay a lot of money, and it's made these companies billions of dollars. I mean, some of these companies like Ubisoft, and EA, and Activision are companies worth billions upon billions of dollars with thousands and even tens of thousands of employees is crazy to me. I mean, back in the mid late 90s, Nintendo was, probably the biggest out there, and now you've got these just monsters of industry in the gaming space, and what they're producing is what you would expect from giant, slow, unimaginative corporations. You've got the cookie cutter open world Ubisoft slop. The quality control is just not there. The passion is gone, and I'm not going to take away from any of the individual developers inside of those companies, because I'm sure there are many, many talented individuals doing things that I don't know how to do. And they're working long hours to try and get these things out. But, as anyone that has worked inside of a large company, or a reasonably large company, knows that things move slowly. Change is hard to affect in any meaningful way, and people get burnt out and move on. The companies that we used to, love and wait in anticipation for the next game to come out are not the same companies they were 5, 10, 15 years ago. And I think that's very obvious to everyone, and it's unfortunate. I think Ubisoft used to make some banger games. The original Ghost Recons. I even like, I'm gonna be fair, like, I liked Wildlands and I like Breaking Point, even though they do get redundant. I like those games, but Division, and they sort of let those things die out for, I don't know, Assassin's Creed, whatever the hell that other game was. I don't know. To each their own. Yes, it sold millions of copies, but it also cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and I don't even know if they've been profitable, which is weird, because these public companies are supposed to be very forthright with their earnings calls and all that, but they seem to, sort of muddy the waters a bit. If you think they were very successful, they'd want to, kind of share all of the numbers and be transparent, but, with all things, they're hiding things, they're using corpo speak, and it's just the way it is these days. A lot of people think that gaming is dead. I don't think so. I think there's still good companies out there that are full of passionate individuals that want to just make games because they're gamers, and they're allowed to do it because they're in smaller companies. And I think that's the future. The double A's, just putting out bangers like Sandfall Interactive's Clair Obscure Expedition 33. I'd have to say that for me, so far this year, is Game of the Year. I came from a background of Final Fantasy, loving that genre of, JRPGs, and Expedition 33 was the cat's meow, I'd have to say. I hope that Square Enix takes note and stops putting out the trash they've been putting out. Everyone loves Final Fantasy 16. It is not a Final Fantasy game. All right, it is a sort of action hack and slash. It is not what I consider a Final Fantasy game. I think it probably did pretty well. I'm not sure. A lot of people seem to like it. I enjoyed it, but I could do without the 45-minute episodic battles and the overuse of particles or whatever that is. The fights were so messy. Anyway, I hope we get back to Expedition 33. I think they proved that you can make turn-based gaming interactive, difficult, and fresh. Now, a lot of people don't think it's turn-based because, you actually have to partake and be active. But when it is your turn, the game stops. You're not going to get interrupted. So it is turn-based in that regard. You just can't wait, to get attacked. You actually have to be active in the game, like older Final Fantasies. But I think that's the right compromise. But I digress. What's the real point of all this? I want gaming to go back to what it was when I really, really enjoyed it. I want to relive the days of old. I want that nostalgic feeling I get from playing games. Do I have that now? Absolutely. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of games that I could stick in my, deep backlog that I want to get through. There's games I want to just keep on playing. And I want the industry to put a customer forward, approach to things instead of trying to do everything for their shareholders. I know they're obligated to, but I think they're missing out on a market that is, craving more passion, better stories, better gameplay instead of cool skins and battle passes that, create some sort of anxiety and FOMO for gamers, and, fun colors that, involve gambling and pretty characters that attract kids or whatever they're trying to do. I don't know. I think there's some nefarious acts going on there, but I'll let you be the judge. I don't think it's an uncommon opinion. And, they're going to figure it out. I think that a lot of people's qualms, to go back to the stop killing games thing, is that, the always online aspects of a lot of games, even for single player games, will at some point essentially kill the games. And, if we allow it to keep going down that path, publishers, not so much the developers, but definitely the publishers that, put the money forward for these developers to make these games that we want, are going to go in that direction. If they don't think something is financially viable, then they're going to shut it off. But what Stop Killing Games wants and what we want is to be able to keep playing those games. If the community has the desire to keep it alive, if there's people that are able and willing to do that, within reason, without, asking them to, give up, special stuff they're doing in the background, and maybe they don't care about, and they're just trying to hold on to it, like Sony's holding on to Bloodborne for some reason, or EA doesn't want to make another Titanfall. Who knows? People have asked for it. Maybe if you launched it the proper marketing and didn't put it up against a couple of other giant games, these things could survive. But who knows? I think the days of us getting what we want out of the gaming industry has sunset, but I think at the same time there's also a renaissance happening. I think we're getting rid of a lot of wokeness in the industry. People don't seem to be too interested. A lot of developers have failed. A lot of people are getting laid off, and people are starting to realize that the things that they thought were dead aren't really dead. They just sort of pushed them in that direction because they were tracing a trend. They were chasing battle royales or extraction shooters or battle passes or free to play with microtransactions. And I think people are finally, after years of abuse, voting with their wallets. And that's the most important thing you can do. What do I want to see? What is my personal opinion? What I would love to see is I would love to see what happened with Stalker happen to as many games in the future as possible, online or not online. I think that Stalker has the greatest modding community out there. For the last nearly 2 decades, modders have been adding mods upon mods, and content creators have created thousands of hours of entertainment within the Stalker universe. GSC allowed them to take their assets and their engine and go to town with it in a non-commercial way. And I think that if a game developer is willing to do that when they're no longer invested in the product anymore, they're shutting down doors, then why not? Give it to the community and let them, go for it. They're not making any money off of it. Like, all of these mods are free, and you have one of the most visceral, immersive games I've ever played. I never played the original games when they came out. I played them, years and years later, and they are so clunky. They are dated for their age. Even when they came out, I think the first one came out in 2007. I think, what is it, Shadow of Chernobyl, then Clear Sky, and then Call for Pripyat. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I got it right. And they're real clunky. I mean, they really are. They came out with enhanced versions, and I played those too. They're not, this is what you're watching. Here's the enhanced version. They seem to have taken some things out. I'm not sure. There were some complaints about it in the Stalker community, but it doesn't really bother me any. The game still plays well. It's just a few things that they updated, some enhancements and all that. I think you can even mod this, but yeah, if you want to get into, a sandbox survival game that can be as brutal as you want to make it, then I highly recommend you check out a Stalker Anomaly or Stalker Gamma or any of the other big mod packs out there for Stalker. I think you'll rather enjoy it. There's nothing quite like it. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just something you really do have to experience for yourself. And I keep coming back to this. I played the original 3. I played the modded Gamma. I haven't played Anomaly by itself. I've always just played Gamma. And it's 450 or so mods, 500 mods. It's a lot. And then I've also obviously played Stalker 2 with all of its UE5, A-Life 2.0 woes. I still really enjoyed the game. It's painful in a very, very visceral way. It's, if you liked suffering like you do in a Souls-like or Elden Ring, or Demon Souls, whatever tickles your fancy. if you're into shooters, I mean, this would be right up your alley. It is a challenging game. Like, do not hold your hand in this game, and I think it's one of the best out there. Even the original series, if you can sort of get over a little bit of the clunkiness and just really appreciate it for what it is, I think you'd have a really good time. I mean, this is a game toted with probably one of the best AIs in any game. Like, there is a persistent world here that when you play, you know, if you kill a stalker, he's dead forever. And, you know, there'll be monsters like eating other monsters or bodies like way off in the distance. You know, it's not just something that populates right next to you. Like, it's happening, you know, a mile away in the world. And when you stumble across it, it's something else. Like, big fan of this mod, and that's where I want to see the gaming industry go back to, like when developers and gamers just were of the same mind and they just wanted to see the best version of their product, their vision, you know, come to life, whether it was the developers that did it or the community did it. And if you have a community that, you know, really loves what you started, then I think you have something special. And, you know, the next time you make a project, you know, if you're able to make it financially viable, then you're gonna have sales coming your way. And I think that's something we've fallen away from. And I think the Stop Killing Games initiative and the sort of shift that I kind of see in the market with newer developers coming out and bringing back things that, you know, bigger companies thought were dead, and seeing success, you know, warms my heart. But those are my thoughts, guys. So I'm going to leave you with the remainder of this gameplay. Feel free to engage in the comments below. Let me know if you're in the EU and you managed to sign the initiative, if you think I'm 100% wrong and have no idea what I'm talking about, or, you know, if you want to talk about anything else, you know, give me some topics to talk about, think about. Maybe I'll rant about it for 30 minutes. Who knows? But that's all I've got for now, guys. I appreciate you checking in, watching for a bit, and I hope you're enjoying whatever you're playing. And I hope that we can all, you know, come together and just make this hobby that we love better for those that come after. Take care, guys, and have a blessed day.
You, Stalker. Help us. We were attacked by mercs and half of our team was killed. Help us, and I promise you won't regret it. Help us break through the ambush by the plant. I have uploaded the coordinates. Watch out. Wolfhound and his crew are by the chopper. That's it, you egghead moron. Either you give me the results or you leave this place in a body bag. If you attack, I will destroy the information. You won't get my work. Professor, you're a smart man. Give us the info and go where you want. If you don't want me to destroy the research results, stay away from me.
Ну, поехали,
We were returning from Young superstar when the mercs shut down our helicopter. I heard that they are looking for information, but I know they will kill us. Whatever you say, Mark One. But you go first and I'll follow you. I'm a third-rate fighter, so you'd better feel the ground yourself.
По местам.
The professor took off. Get Krugel. It couldn't have gone too far. They're following us. Mark One, stop them. Hurry up before anyone gets here.
I see Kruglov at the construction site. Let's go get him.
Mark One, stop them. They'll kill us all. Hurry up before anyone gets here. Ambush!
По местам. Порвать. А ну,
Hurry up before anyone gets here. Mark, there's a burner anomaly heading the tunnel. We'd better split up and go one by one. That will give us a better chance to survive. You go first, and when I see you have reached the end of the tunnel, I'll follow. Beware of the fire traps, and look out for hot air distortions.